Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is February 14th, so happy Valentine's Day for all of you out there. And the sun is out. I think I hear angels sing because it was supposed to rain today. So it's a long weekend, Monday here in British Columbia, and in the majority of provinces is Family Day. So it's a 3-day weekend, which is awesome. So I'm out getting some groceries, doing some errands. And I thought I would talk about, I often get asked if I am not lonely living in my tiny house by myself, especially now with Sophie gone. And given that I live in the country without a whole lot of people around me. I do have a neighbours, and so today I wanted to talk about that. The difference between being alone and being lonely. Because the thing is, I am rarely lonely. I won't pretend that I don't sometimes get lonely. We all sometimes get lonely. But does Valentine's Day in particular make me feel lonely? No. Because Valentine's Day was never a big deal for me. And so it's really no other day. I was more excited about Friday the 13th than I was about Saturday the 14th, to be honest with you, because I think Friday the 13th are fun. There's a big difference between being alone and being lonely. And in my opinion, the biggest difference is mindset. Now, I will say, it's easier when you're an introvert to not be lonely when you're alone. Because I'm an introvert, I kind of prefer my own company anyways. But that's really the number one thing, is not being an introvert, but actually enjoying your own company. And if I were the kind of person who always needed to have other people around in order to be entertained, to feel full and whole, then I would really struggle with living alone. But because I'm not that kind of person, because I actually prefer to be on my own, because I enjoy my own company, when I have other people around, it adds to my enjoyment of the day and the time, if that makes sense. I've spent a lot of time on my own, even as a child, even though I'm the youngest of 3. I think because, again, I was always an introvert, but I have a rich imagination. And so I'm easily entertained by things like reading books, watching movies, doing art, that sort of thing. But I also love the silence. And maybe the biggest thing is, when I'm alone, I don't feel the absence of somebody. And obviously and I will say that when I first became a single parent, I did feel lonely. And ironically, I had 2 kids in the house with me, but because it was so fresh, I felt the absence of someone. That crow is giving somebody hail. You had something to say there, buddy? I think for me, the key to really enjoying being on my own without feeling lonely is to make my space as much me as possible, to really make it a welcoming, cozy space. Because that way you want to be there, right? Home is my sanctuary. My tiny house is my favorite place to be. And while I love getting out for walks and such, I look forward to coming home because I've made it homey and cozy and welcoming. And that's, I think, for me, the key. I don't walk into my house and think there's something missing. I walk into my house and think I'm home. And maybe if you're struggling living on your own and feeling lonely, that might be something that helps. I think also, for the majority of us who live alone and really enjoy it, we're not always alone. Like, keep in mind, I still have interactions through Zoom calls at work. I have my friends that I FaceTime with and text with. I have my neighbors who are friends who I can go for walks with. And so when I want to see somebody, when I want to be around somebody, there are people around. I'm not isolated on an island where well, I'm on an island, but I'm not isolated where there is nobody around. And that's important as well, because we are human beings, and human beings are social creatures by nature. The majority of us need some interaction, and so making sure that you can have that when you want it, and building that into your week, I think is also very important. Like, I look forward to the weekends when I get out and do my groceries and run my errands, because, you know, I'm around other people. I will admit that if it's super crowded out, I can't wait to get home, but I do enjoy the time that I'm out. And then, you know, after work or on weekends, I look forward to going for a walk with my neighbor or Keaton, because he is next door, or even just by myself. And getting out of the house is also really important to not feeling lonely when you live alone. Having said all that, I do understand that loneliness is something that some people struggle with, and that can really be a part of, a byproduct of, or result in depression. And so it's important to get, you know, help, talk to somebody, have a support network, even if they're not face to face. Because obviously you don't want to struggle on your own. If talking to somebody, getting some help will help. You know, there are people whose families live far away, who are estranged from their families, who, you know, have lost a partner, a loved one, a family member, and feel very alone. And so finding somebody to talk to can really help with that. But there is a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. And when I tell people, some people who don't know me, that I live alone, I get kind of a, sort of sympathetic look. And here's the thing. Nobody needs to feel lonely or sorry for me. I have chosen this life. I am extremely happy with it. And I treasure my alone time. I love a peaceful house. Sometimes I have a podcast on, sometimes I have the TV on. Quite often I don't. And the silence to me doesn't feel empty. The silence to me feels peaceful and comforting, because it's my space and it's like, say, my sanctuary. So when you talk to people, when you meet people who live alone and say that they're happy, believe them. That's just my thoughts on that. I thought it was a good day, given that it was Valentine's Day, and I am spending it alone, which I don't know what that means. That means I'm spending my day like I would normally spend my day. But I thought it was a good day to address that, because again, I get a lot of questions about it. And sometimes I get comments that make it sound like they don't believe that somebody who lives alone can be happy. Because here's the thing. There are a lot of people who have partners who live with other people who are not happy. And so having somebody else in your space doesn't necessarily equate to happiness. Having the right somebody's in your space obviously can. And maybe someday there will be somebody in my space, but it will be the person that doesn't make me feel like I'm losing my peace, and who allows me to still have my time on my own and my quiet time. Because for me, as an introvert, as Adelina, my soul needs that quiet time. I need that recharge time. And so after a week of work, or after a week of time of being around a lot of people, I cannot wait to be back to just myself and my own thoughts, because I like my company. And that is the number one thing. I think you have to enjoy your own company. You have to fill your space with things that you love. You have to have some hobbies and things that you enjoy doing that don't require other people to be around, so that you can still enjoy them when you're on your own. And I think that's really important. So anyways, guys, just a short video. I wanted to check in and say happy Saturday, happy Valentine's Day, if that's what you celebrate today, but just to say hello and to see how you guys are doing. And the clouds are there, but hopefully they bugger off. Oh no. Somebody's balloon made a run for it. Hopefully it wasn't a kid's. Oh well. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, including to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you next time.